Alright guys, I apologize for the background noise of the heater, but the first step I'm going to do to prep this for filler, this is part 2 of how to pull and fill a dent with the panel beater. I'm going to go around the majority of this and rough it up with a 36 grit. I didn't use that grinder at full warp speed. It's not necessary. You just want to put a scratch in there. The newer fillers say you can go over 80 grit scratches, and I do that sometimes. But this is ready to put a wipe on. Notice I didn't put that 36 grit scratch into my feather edge paint. Old school tells you that you don't want filler over your paint, but the new fillers can do it as long as you have a, I think 80 to 180 scratch for most of them, and it'll adhere to paint. But I'm going to try and contain most of my filler work right into this ground out area. Then once that filler's in, and I'll tell you guys this again, once that filler is feather edged into this area, we will come back with some 180 and we will back sand all this feather edged area so there's no filler touching it with that 180, and then I will glaze coat it, because the glaze can go over 180 for sure. I think 180 to 220 or 320 for the glaze. I have to read the particular product I have. I'm using the Evercoat metal glaze. So I'm going to mix up some filler and we're going to get a wipe on this. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, I got about that much filler, which is probably twice too much. I've already kneaded the hardener. I'll put about that much hardener in it. This filler is kind of warm, so I know I'm not going to have a lot of work time with it. So we're going to get it up here. Filler certainly mixes better when it's not ice cold. Cures properly, all that good stuff. I continually scrape the whole board off to make sure that I don't have any uncatalyzed filler. Okay, it's mixed, so we're going to get it on the panel. Yep, that was 2 times more than what I really needed. Wipe it tight. You want it to get down in that scratch. Anything that gets on uncured paint, or uncured paint, unsanded paint, is not going to stick. That should be plenty. I go clean my square up, and that's pretty much what you're going to have, is a wipe like that. I shouldn't fuss with it anymore here, but I don't like those lines up the middle. So that should suffice. That should be a one wiper, and then a glaze coat. So I'll bring you back when it's time to sand. I got to get this camera back on the charger. It almost went dead on the last clip, so I'll catch you in a bit. Alright guys, had to let the charger charge the battery in the camera back up. For some reason this thing's going dead really fast, but in the last segment we put a wipe on that, and that's ready to sand now because I drove up to the store where I get my repair panels, and we got a wheel arch or two. These are key parts wheel arches from Mill Supply in Cleveland, and of course their quality. What's that say? Yep. But anyways, these are pretty thick. I want to see what gauge steel they are because it doesn't say, but they are heavy. So we'll get the old gauge out here and we'll see what they are. Gauge. That's good stuff. Those should be easy to weld. Well, as easy as they can be. I'm going to let the heater run for a little bit here, and I'll turn you guys back on once I can turn the heater off. If it gets warm enough, I'll start sanding that filler. So I'll catch you in a little bit. Alright, let's get to it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to knock this down a little bit with some 80 grit, and then I'll start hand blocking it. So we got 80 grit on the GA. That spreader so it doesn't fall. Okay, so I tapped down a high spot down here and right here. This isn't necessarily a high spot on this edge here. This is a low spot right here. So I'm going to wipe that. Probably because it's so low, I will probably wipe that with some glaze and go from there. So I will get some glaze mixed up here and get a wipe on it, and we'll go from there. Alright, we're going to wipe both these spots. I took that one down so that if I miscalculated on my amount here, which I usually do, have a hard time mixing up filler for small areas that we wouldn't be wasting. So this is tight. That's as much as I'm messing with that one. Not a very good left-handed spreader, but we're going to give her hell. That's that. We'll let that cure and we'll go from there. That's kind of a crap spot to spread. It ain't perfect, so we'll hopefully get it in that one smear. Alright, I'll bring you back when it's time to sand. Alright guys, I started knocking this down with the DA and some 180 to get my edges started to feather in, and now I'm going to block it here. This is the only block I have. We should be using a block that's pretty much the size of the repair, but that's as close as I have, so. Your sandpaper starts to load up, you can blow it off. anything worse than a 180 scratch out here, and I'm actually going to go over this with some 320 when I'm done blocking it out so that there's no 180 scratch out here. You should be able to prime over a 180 scratch. Most products will say that, but I've found from my experience, if you prime over a 180 scratch that didn't take out a deeper scratch, like there's some 80 grit ones way out here, that those will come back to haunt you. I am going to prime this whole bedside, so the fact that I'm putting scratches all over it is fairly inconsequential at this point, but if you're not, you want to contain your repair area to the best of your ability, for sure. That feels pretty good. I'm going to take the DA with that 180 and try and get that edge knocked in. As you can see, didn't really take much to get rid of that. I'll finish checking it here with the block. Make sure I've got it where I want it. Feels pretty good. Don't feel anything crazy. I do have some filler hanging off down here, but I don't think there's any scratch in that, so that'll probably break off. You can already start to see our feather edge coming back into it here, so I'm going to switch gears here and throw a piece of 320. Actually, I think I'm going to go 220 real quick, just to get that feathered in, and then I'm going to 320 around that whole area, and that'll be done. Some guys don't take it that far, it's just the way I do it. You probably don't need to go as far as I go, but I've had some scratches come back to haunt me before. That was the 220, and I'm going to buzz it real quick with some 320 and call it good. And that's basically a start to finish up to the point of primer on the body filler. What you don't want to do is undercut your body filler so that it's low again. That's why I kind of started with that 220 when I still had a little bit of a feather edge left. And that's basically it. I'll have to clean up this edge here. I'll grab a little piece of 220 and get that off of there, because I know that had some scratches in it. So it will most likely need to be sanded off. And that's basically it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this little segment. I'm going to finish this one down here, and then I'm going to get to putting that side panel in. So that's it for now, guys, and I will turn you back on later.